Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there! Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Welcome to Part 5 of Big Blend Radio's Excellence in Tourism series on how to put the eye back into community through a responsible tourism plan that incorporates the 8 keys of excellence. We're your hosts, Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith, the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend Radio and TV Magazine and Parks and Travel Magazine. You can see them both at BigBlendMagazines.com. And today we're airing live from sunny Tucson, Arizona, and fall is saying it will be here in a couple days. We promise it's coming. Right, Nancy?
I think it is. Look, I see a breeze.
You see a breeze, yes. Leaves are falling as we speak. Very excited about today's show. We get excited about talking about tourism, responsible tourism. We're not talking about turning your quaint, historic downtown into a crazy amusement park with people running everywhere and into your yards or whatever, but talking about tourism that incorporates a vision of a community. What do you want in your town, keeping your sense of place? And we're going to focus on the 4th key of excellence today, and that is, this is it, attention to detail. Stay focused and tuned into your community and visitor needs. It's the 4th key of tourism excellence. There's the 8 keys of excellence, the original ones, and we have the creator of the 8 keys of excellence here with us, Bobbi DePorter. We call her the Queen of Excellence. She's in Oceanside, California. She is the co-founder of Super Camp, which is the world's leading summer academic achievement program for teens and preteens. And she is also the president of Quantum Learning Network. She created the 8 Keys of Excellence and is the author of a number of books, including The 8 Keys of Excellence, Principles to Live By. And her latest is Excellence in Teaching and Learning, the Quantum Learning System. And she co-authored that with her friend Barbara K. Given. So I encourage you to go to 8keys.org. It's the number 8. It's a free family education program, a character development program for kids, and a great program for families to get on board with. And also go to supercamp.com. Bobbi, how are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
It's good to have you back on the show, and I always enjoy talking about, here's the keys of excellence for people, individuals, and then you allowed us to say, okay, this is the community vision for tourism. So I always want to say thank you for allowing us to work with the 8 keys. And what we find is the 8 keys go in everything, everywhere.
They do apply to everything, and they come up so often when you're thinking in different scenarios. And not only that, but the keys work with each other as well. You're focused on one key, and another one comes forward.
It's a teamwork, thing with the keys. They
you
like
can't
each
work
other.
With just one.
Yes, like I was saying the last time we spoke, it's the skeleton of keys, and if you don't have that, then it's all the rest of the bones of your skeleton. It makes up your body and the core. So we have the Queen of Excellence on this show, and our other special guest today is travel writer Linda-Kissam. She is known as the food, wine, and shopping diva, and she's a regular article. She writes articles in Big Blend Radio and TV Magazine and in Parks and Travel Magazine. Both her and Bobbi are regular guests here on Big Blend Radio. And Linda is also the president of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, an incredible network. I encourage anyone in the travel, tourism, wine, food, media, whether you're a blogger, a photographer, a writer, an author, a journalist, or even a destination management organization to take a look at this organization and join, because they're doing awesome things. So anyway, for IFTWA, that's what we call the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. You can go to ifwtwa.org. However, keep up with the diva. Go to her website, her blog. It's allingoodtaste.info. Diva Linda, how are you?
I'm very good, and you make me sound so popular and busy. I would come on more often. Feeling good.
You are popular and busy. You've been floating around in the waters of, the Pacific Northwest, and now you're back in the warm waters of Southern California. You've had quite an eventful summer.
It's been quite an eventful year. I started it off with back surgery, thinking this was it, and it wasn't. It actually, things turned out very well. And then I was on this boat cruise forever, and now I'm back in Seal Beach and continuing on my press trips. So it's a busy life, and it's good, and a lot of it revolves around IFTWA.
Mm-hmm.
And you
actually.
Yeah. And you
guys.
So there you are. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and we're excited because I know you're going to Oregon next, right? You got Oregon coming up. You've got.
Yeah.
She's going to Louisiana.
Yes.
Cool.
Lafayette. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. Yep. Very, very happy, and several new places around here. I haven't been to the Sherman Gardens, but we're going to have a press trip to the Sherman Gardens, which I understand is just outstanding, and we're going to have lunch with a talented chef. So life is good and busy.
Hey, lunch in a garden is a walk in the park.
Yes,
it's
really
I love
quite
that.
wonderful.
You know, we had to bring you on the show because it's this is it, attention to detail, and no one knows details better than a diva. I just want to say
That's
that.
right.
When it comes to travel, even when I invited her, I said, "Hey, Diva Linda, you're a diva. You need to be on here." You know, how nice. No, but it's true because she goes around, and if you get the diva stamp of approval, you could be diva approved, and it's a big deal. You know, so this is important. Bobbi, before we get into this, and I need to say to everyone, Bobbi and Diva Linda both are world travelers, and they've traveled the country extensively. I know, Bobbi, you had a busy summer traveling around too. Where was the last destination for you?
I was at the Stanford Super Camp, so it's kind of a tradition to be there at the last session and the last closing ceremony with all the parents and the students, and it's my favorite moment of just the exuberance and seeing, you know, how their lives are changed and how excited the students are. So that's what fills me up.
Excellent. And let's talk about the 8 keys, because this is the foundation of Super Camp with the teens. I mean, this again, the teens and the preteens that go enroll during summer actually live on the campus for 7 to 10 days and learn these 8 keys and learn about, you know, who they are as an individual. It's very cool. So can you give everyone an overview of the keys? And what I wanted to do is just kind of, if you could tell people about the program, because we're still working on 50 million, right? 50 million people?
Yes, we are. The 8 keys of excellence are a set of guiding principles, and a key word here is excellence, because we define excellence as good qualities and high degree, and they really create the core of who we are. And a lot of students are trying to figure out who they are. They want to fit in, you know, and so by giving them the framework of the 8 keys of excellence and going deeper with each of the keys, it does help define who they are, and they feel good about themselves, and that's how they express themselves. So it really is a transformational shift that happens. And, you know, so many students have told us it's once they adopt the 8 keys of excellence is that they cannot not live them, because they become who they are. And then they can feel good about knowing who they are and letting other people see who they are and feel good about it.
I love that. I know, you know, Linda has been up to the Quantum Learning Conference Center in Oceanside with us and been on a number of 8 Keys of Excellence shows too. And Linda, you have a teaching background, a background in real estate, public relations, destination management and marketing, you know, travel writing. Let me just keep adding the list on there. But when you look at the 8 keys, I mean, we're going to talk about the community vision part, but the 8 keys, you have to have the individual first before you can, you know, be the community part. Is this something you would say, you know, when you look at your background, that is something for all ages, you know, that all people should adopt?
Well, I think that I wish I'd seen this program, when I was teaching. Actually, before teaching. Actually, I wish I would have seen it as a teenager. I had an easy teen time. I didn't really suffer as some do. But I think when I see and I remember that many of your guiding principles come from your fellow peers rather than your parents, because you're missing dinners and you're really active with sports. And who do you spend most of your time with? Your peer group. Well, your peer group still hasn't formulated. And that actually sort of comes to when you're an adult. It really hasn't formulated guiding principles to live by, right? They're just sort of sorting themselves out as they go along. So I think that as I reflect, I wish I'd had this when I was a teen. Certainly wish I would have had it when I was teaching special education, because I was teaching children with behavior problems. Their compass had gone wacky. Sometimes it was because of choices they made, sometimes because of choices the adults in their life made, but they didn't have anything really to hold on to. So I think these would have really given some guidance. And then as you get older and you go into management, and you have people who often just take a job for the money. But if you could perhaps enrich them with these keys of excellence, I think your time with them and their time with you might have been a lot better. And then, of course, as you travel, these things, these 8 keys sort of help you focus on what's important. Are you just traveling to say you've been someplace, or are you traveling for a purpose? And with that purpose, how do you handle it? So, yes, I would say this is something that should start in the teen years and goes all the way up through your adult life. It's really a very important program.
Well said. Well, we'll take you on the road on the 8 keys. That's interesting, Bobbi. You know what Linda talks about. You know, when you're in this group setting, and it's something interesting. I know that the 8 keys of excellence has gone into schools and into communities, and right in your backyard in Oceanside, and actually spurred part of this. You know, the Community of Lions for Youth Success and Youth Success Week. So when you see kids getting together and adults with the keys, do you see them both have a better communication together through having this as a language?
Yes, it creates a common language, and so that's a key one with the similar concepts, and they know, like I say, it creates that core, so you know who you're talking to, and as you bring up, it's the core of the person. And it's also the expression of excellence that can be out in the community. As you know, in Oceanside, they had the 8 keys on flags down our main street. You know, in some of the businesses display the 8 keys of excellence. So it does create, hey, this is what we stand for. This is who we are. And it gets attention.
I love that. Nancy, when we were traveling on the tour, the first phase 2 is happening May 2019. Nancy and I are back on the road traveling full time in 3 to 5 years. Could be 7, could be 8. You never know. Just keep going. But we started speaking with different groups as we traveled. We were asked to speak and sometimes talk about tourism. A lot of communities are revitalizing or looking at tourism, but responsible tourism, and we were talking and using the keys just to get a common ground and common language with people, and for them too, adults. We know businesses that steal signs from each other and things like that in a community, and that is not communicating with good purpose. But Nancy, you and I, as we travel, and I know Linda and Bobbi experienced the same thing. One thing we realized is, tourism can have such a bad, negative word to it, and a lot of people go, I don't want all these people in my town, and they're going to ruin this. And what we're talking about is responsible and sustainable tourism. And Nancy, you really said, hey, it's about having the community have this voice, right?
Well, yeah, the one thing we noticed is the communities always seem to be divided. There's the people who want tourism because they see an economic benefit, and then there's the people who have retired into that community, and they retired into it because it's beautiful and smaller, and it's not big city, and they don't want to be overrun with a lot of people in town. So there's that kind of, it's either this or that, and we try to work together and say, but it isn't either or, it is let's do both responsibly and sustainably so the people wanting to further their businesses can enjoy the economic boost. The money goes back into the community for community services, especially education, which helps everyone in the community. So when they start to think about, okay, well, who's getting all the money that comes in, then there's a solution for that. And when they see, oh, wait a minute, there's a benefit for me too, and you talk about how to manage a tourism destination so you are not overrun for one season out of the year, and the rest of the year you're not seeing visitors. And it is all in how you gather what you have for someone to visit, and you schedule it out, and you look at what do you have, how can I have somebody come to the desert in summertime. Europeans do it all the time. They love it. Still looking at desert communities saying, did you know you could market to Europe and they will come? You know, so it's having a whole look at what the possibilities are, and that takes getting out of what you think they are and finding out what they are. So we try to manage the two sides so that they can come together as a community and do what's best for everyone, not just one side.
Yeah, and the youth plays a huge role in this, in tourism. When you have responsible tourism, you have jobs for all ages that come in, and you know they learn how to communicate. You know, maybe they're working in a shop or at a restaurant, or you know, and there's so many different. You know, you could be working in all kinds of. You could be working in air conditioning as a helper, just helping putting air conditioning in hotels. There's so many different jobs that people don't recognize as tourism sometimes. And then they learn how to have communication. They learn money. They learn a sense of value when they have that kind of thing. When you have another career, when during school or after school during summer, Bobbi, that's an important part, right? Is the kids and the business community working together, and the business community need the youth. Definitely.
Yes, it's definitely working together, and when you adopt the 8 keys and have a mindset of excellence. So not only do youth get jobs and look at the expectation and what's exuded out, because there's a story that I just love. It's in a book called Conversations with Bobbi, which is by Bob Danzig. He was the head of Hearst newspaper. He just died about a month ago.
Yeah.
But he tells a story. He was abandoned as a toddler, and he grew up in 5 foster homes. And, he talks about newspaper in his shoes and all that he grew up in trying to survive. And he got a job as kind of entry level, go for a job in the newspaper. But he talks in the book about that there was a classified advertising salesman who mentored him and took him under his wing. But he said, that was my first mentor, and he said he harbored an extraordinary dedication to excellence. He dressed with excellence, carried himself with excellence. He treated his customers with excellence, and he showed me how to tune into excellence. So I think about it's not only getting people and jobs, it's are there smiles on the faces of the people? What's the attitude? Are they all talking on the same page with joy and pride in what they're doing? And to get that kind of feeling, people walk in and it's about the culture of the area. It's like, what's happening here? It just feels good.
When I was a budding teenager, before we went on the road in South Africa, and we lived in a kind of a resort community, Margate, on the beach, and it was beautiful. It was fun. And it was busy in the summer, and it got a little too busy in the summer. But year-round, there were people coming in from everywhere. And as a young person, I was excited because there were just different people. There were different languages being spoken, and I was like, this is so cool. And it made you want to be part of meeting all these people that were coming into your community. And on the split side of it, it also made me want to travel. It kept, I know that we're gypsies here. We're a traveling family, but it made me realize that there was so much more out there that I wanted to discover, but it made me want to also have a very strong commitment to my community, and welcome people in. It's kind of an interesting thing, what can happen with that. And I love the mentorship part. I think that's really an important thing for youth and for adults. We all need someone to talk to and have some thoughts outside of our brains. Bobbi, what I wanted to do real quick before we get into attention to detail, this is it. Can we run through the 8 keys real quick? If you would do the personal side, and then, so if you tell integrity, and then I'll tell you, list out what it is on the tourism side. And then we'll go
so
from
the
key to key like that.
first key is integrity, which is match behavior with values, demonstrating positive personal values in all you say and do. Be sincere and real.
What we say in the tourism excellence of community vision, right? It's integrity, provide a sense of place, define your community identity, and showcase its positive values.
Yeah, and being clear what they are, that's so great. Failure leads to success. Learn from mistakes. View failures as feedback that provides us with the information to learn, grow, and succeed.
We say on the tourism community vision, failure leads to success. Make lemonade. View negative community attributes as opportunities to enhance, improve, and enrich.
And speak with good purpose. Speak
Yay.
honestly and kindly. Think before we speak, and make sure our intention is positive and our words are sincere.
We say speak with good purpose, be positive. Keep your community story and all communications positive.
This is it. Make the most of every moment. Focus your attention on the present moment and keep a positive attitude.
I like that one. We're talking about this one today. On the community and tourism side, we say this is it. Attention to detail. Stay focused and tuned into your community and visitor needs.
Commitment. Make your dreams happen. Take positive action. Follow your vision unwaveringly.
On the tourism community side, we say commitment. Make your community vision happen. Take consistent positive action to maintain your community identity and to fulfill its vision.
Ownership. Take responsibility for actions. Be responsible for your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. Owns the choices you make and the results that follow.
That's a big one, Bobbi. Are you above or over or under the line?
Where are you living?
For the community side, we say take ownership, be part of the solution. Take ownership of your community with positive and responsible actions.
Flexibility, be willing to do things differently. Recognize what's not working and be willing to change what you're doing to achieve your goal.
For the community and tourism vision, it's flexibility. Be willing to do things differently. Recognize what's not working and be willing to change your plan of action to achieve your community goals and vision.
And balance, live your best
Yay.
life. Be mindful of yourself and others while focusing on what's meaningful and important in your life.
For the tourism and community part, it's balance. Build a sustainable and responsible community. Consider everything that's meaningful and important to your community and steadily grow that vision. Yay! Let's go on the road and take this everywhere, Bobbi.
I know, and when I hear the definitions, I know with each one, it's like you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. I've been reflecting on these for over 30 years. And they show up in so many areas of your life. And sometimes, they're more right in front of you than others. It's like, oh, my goodness, that key, and reflect on it and what that means.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about this is it, attention to detail in regards to travel, tourism. This can go in so many ways. You could be a hotel looking at, the details of how you communicate. You could be, a guest is, saying, hey, something is wrong with the light in my room, and it's an opportunity to communicate with them. I think that sometimes this part of attention to detail is seizing opportunities every time to make a memorable experience. Let's start with you, Linda, Diva Linda, attention to detail. I know this is your key. This is definitely your key. When you think about you as a travel writer, any stories that you can share in regards to that, or any thoughts in regards to attention to detail?
Well, I think one thing is to make sure that the people that you hire have a positive attitude and are there to learn and to pass on what's great about the destination that they're part of. So I'll give you an example. Many people. So when I was a director of a wine country here in Southern California for many years, and wineries need people to pour wine. You know, that's a fairly that would seem to be a fairly easy thing. Stand behind the counter, point to the cab. Somebody points to the cab, and you pour it. But that's not part of the positive attitude. The positive attitude comes when you share what's in the community as you pour, as you focus in on what makes the whole area great, including the wine that you're drinking. You know, it has a sense of place because why? The people here are great because why? So I think when you talk about keep a positive attitude and your attention to the present moment, what's great about the community now? Let's not talk about the awful wine of 10 years ago. And the slow development of the region. Let's talk about how we now have, 45, 50 wineries, over 200,000 visitors each year and building and why people love it now, where to go eat and all that sort of stuff. So, pay attention to the details that make the people standing in front of you happy. Involve them. Make it a positive experience all the way through from the hello to the goodbye.
I like that.
For sure.
I really do. I like that, and that
so
positive part of it. And happy. Travel's supposed to be happy, and sometimes it's not. You know, I remember when we were printing our magazine years ago, we were printing in Las Vegas.
Woo-hoo.
And I remember it was, right in the middle of desert summer, and was probably like 119, 120 degrees outside. And we'd been driving for, I can't remember, about 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on where we were. It was longer. And we checked into the Luxor, and I get to give their name out because they were very nice, the Luxor Hotel. And we checked in, and obviously just, feeling all from being out in the heat and, it was running around to the printer, and I just, you just wanted to take a shower really badly. And got to the counter, and you're waiting, and you're getting antsy because there's this big long line of people, and you're just sweaty, and it's all smoky, and I'm getting crabby. And I get to the counter, and they're really nice, and the first thing they do is hand me a rolled towel that's damp to cool you down, and that's what they were doing, and water. And I thought, just there, everything, all the crabbiness, everything, all the heat left my body before I even used the towelette and drank the water. It was just that little teeny attention to detail, and then I won a lot of money. No kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, I did. But anyway, it was that attention to detail that just really changed it. Nancy, when you talk about attention to detail, and this is it, what comes to mind?
Well, it's being thoughtful. When you have somebody over for dinner, you're thoughtful about why they're coming, who you obviously invited them, you want them to have a good time. So you think about things. How are you going to set the table? What are you going to serve? Maybe you want to have some fresh flowers, this kind of thing. It's being thoughtful. So when you're out, traveling is wonderful, but it can be tiring. And when you're tired, when somebody is treating you with some care and some thought, it makes it worth the getting tired and traveling some more. So a friendly face, thoughtful words, somebody sharing something, they have to be excited about where they live in order to share it in a manner that makes the visitor feel welcome and that they might want to come back. So that attention go ahead.
I think a big part of this key is understanding your target audience. Who are you dealing with? Why have they come? And what can you do to make it a positive visit?
Yeah, understand the details of them. Yeah, who they
are. That's right. Why are they coming? They're coming for a benefit. They're coming for a positive benefit. How are you, as a person that's helping out, how are you going to make this experience the best one ever? You can't do it if you don't understand who's standing in front of you. If you're in a casino and you're behind the counter, you're going to have a lot of older people. Just was in one about 3 weeks ago. I haven't been in a casino in quite a while, but it was one of the ones in Arizona, one of the newer ones in Arizona, and these people cannot stand in line for a long time, and when they get to the front, you're going to have to. But I think if you're behind the counter, you just want to process these people, but it takes time and care to get them through the process. So I think just being positive about understanding your target market and giving them what they need so that they can move on, I think is a real big part of this key.
I love that it ties on. Glenn Burrows from Norfolk Tours, who was on talking about the integrity key back in January. He was writing on Facebook. It's like past midnight. It's past his bedtime right now, but I want to give him a shout out because he was talking about the attention to details is what creates that sense of place. He was like, if you stay at some place and they're giving you a mass-produced meal that isn't from like the local, egg farm, the local butcher, and you're not using something from that, you've now lost the destination, and the integrity comes from the details, which I find is interesting, because then you don't have the destination. And you're right. I mean, if you don't know your people who are visiting, you can't really provide what their expectations are, because no matter what, people have expectations, even though we should, get rid of those expectations. They do when they're on their way somewhere, especially if they've been planning it. Maybe this is their one vacation every 5 years. You want to make sure that when they get to you, that they're happy. Bobbi, you get to round this part up.
Yes.
Talking about your key.
Yes. Well, one of the things that stands out to me is we have a tenet that everything speaks. And that, to me, is just so powerful, because we say everything is either sending a positive message or a negative message. And if you hold that there is no neutral, that's a big responsibility. You put a lot more attention in it, because you think, if you ever think it doesn't matter, it does matter. So that's where you get the attention to details, is that everything matters. And so you look at everything in those eyes of, is that sending positive message or a negative one? And, of course, the positive one, when we focus on it, it really shows that we care. And I think a lot of what we're talking about is that it creates relationship and interaction and connection between people with this attitude of, wow, we care and we're connecting. And people feel good about themselves, feel good about being there, and want to come back.
Mm-hmm. I think, a part of this, too, is the ability to stay focused on what it is that you're doing right that second. And it's easy to drift off, even if you're waiting tables and you're just kind of placing the food in front of people, and you're actually really thinking of your own shopping list instead of how you place the food in front of the person. So especially if you're having to move quickly and you're already thinking, well, I've got these 4 more things I've got to do, I've got this many more tables. And so you can almost, sometimes waitresses will it's almost as if they throw the food at you, and it kind of slides, and you're like, whoa, So I think a big part of this key is the ability to stay focused on what it is you're actually doing that very second or minute, so that you remember not to think of anything else but what you're actually doing, so you can do it the best that you can do it. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about something else, then what you're doing is not the best you can do it. And then the visitor is the visitors are sensitive, and they pick that up right away.
Mm-hmm. It's true. When I look at when people come when they're traveling, they're looking for those memorable moments. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the selfie, riding a camel in front of the pyramid. But there's these memorable things, and the memorable should sometimes be the unexpected. So you think you're going to Egypt, and people have already planned that Instagram photo. They know I'm going to do that. That's the obligatory photo that people think of. In Yosemite, I'm going to stand in front of El Capitan. There's these certain icons. So there's these memorable moments, and I was reading an article about what is tourism going to do, because in regards to marketing and these, selfies and social media, and how positive words get out, because word of mouth is great if it's positive. When word of mouth and it's negative, it travels far faster, unfortunately, and it can really do damage. So you've got to make sure the word of mouth is good. But if you create these memorable moments, you are going to do far better in your outreach and marketing. You're going to, I mean, people will come visit you again, and people will return. These memorable moments, I was reading an article about a guy who was saying, so a couple goes off and they're doing all these historic sites. They come back to the hotel, and the couple is going to sit down and go, oh, well, I enjoyed this, I enjoyed that, and they were together for the whole time. So now nothing's really memorable. But when you start to tell other people, it becomes memorable. You start to remember the iconic stories. And so he was saying, change your layout of your hotels, for the foyer, the lobby areas, so people can communicate. So there's these certain little details like that. Just changing the layout that people can communicate will make things better. And people can say, hey, have you tried this? And the people that are happy, so long as you're keeping everyone happy, will start telling other people what they've done and start promoting for you right there and there, like then and there, So what do you think about that, Diva Linda? People changing out the layout of things.
I think that's important, and I think allowing people to communicate with strangers is very important. To share your story and so forth. That's part of the experience of travel, to meet other people. And what's in the present moment, what is your audience looking for? Understand it, hear it, and then take action to make it happen. So I think it's just important if somebody comes into your hotel and is very excited, and they're blah, blah, blahing about it, they seem to be focusing on the food that they had that day. If you're trained well, you'll say, I would agree with you or whatever, but here's 2 more farm-to-table restaurants for you to think about for your stay. And maybe other people overhear that, and maybe you just start the conversation.
Exactly. They always say the devil's in the details. I don't like the devil in there. I like the angels in the details. That's what I want to say. I wanted to ask each of you of a positive experience that you've had traveling. I know you've both been all over, but one that that is a memorable experience, because just every little moment, when I think about the key of excellence, this is it, live in the now, make the most of every moment. I think about that every time you're with, someone who's traveled to your community. Make the most of that moment while they're there. Listen to what they have to say. Maybe it is an unpleasant experience they had. Then that is your moment to turn things around, to make it, change it, flip it. Maybe it's something they don't know about. I think that these memorable things are so important, and it does come from the details. Bobbi, for you, any moments that come to mind in your travels?
Well, I just thought about it this weekend because I was up at a conference in Los Angeles and checked into a hotel. And, sometimes I have, we're arriving early. I have expectations of what I've found most places. Room not ready, it's like looking for someone to help with the bags or something. And it was like from the moment I arrived, there was somebody outside that said, no, I can take your things. And I had a glass vase, and he said, no problem, I'll protect it, And so, it was early, and we're early. And then they just said, no, we have your room ready for you, and we'll do this. It felt like every place I turned that I had almost a preconceived expectation that this is the normal, like they say they, are not ready, or there's something wrong with the reservation or something. And I went, wow, I better change my mindset. They were just perfect on everything.
Wow.
Made it so easy and welcoming. So it was like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, because I know that feeling.
I just noticed it was memorable. It was like, wow. And I noticed even my attitude of, wow, the last 3 places weren't like that. So I came with an expectation versus expecting the best.
Yeah. And it's true. And when they have that attention to detail and that communication, there's hotels or restaurants, shops. You go in and you're excited, and the person's too busy texting on their phone. I had to put that in there for Nancy.
Oh boy! Don't start me.
Put it down. You know what I mean? So it's really, I love that story because you do have that moment where no, you can't go to your room until it's 3:00. And that's that. And you need to go sit in your car and swelter in the heat. You will sit there and stay there.
The rules are posted. Pay attention.
I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. When you go to hotels and there's 20,000 things that they tell you cannot do. That's the fun thing. Have you had that, Linda? When you go in and it's like, don't go here, don't do that. Please, don't flush the toilet paper. You got to change things. Yeah, I know, right? So a positive experience where you felt that this was really memorable in regards, and you know that it comes from those details.
Well, this is going to sound a little odd, but when I was in Jordan, which of course is my most favorite trip I've ever taken ever, we were in Petra, and it was sort of in the middle of my journey of having a bad back, and so I needed to take a donkey from the farthest reaches of the park back to the entrance.
Diva on a donkey.
On a donkey, and this guy looks at me, and I know he's thinking, "Oh my God, another person with sparkly shoes. What are we going to do with her?" But and so when you take a donkey, I didn't know what they were going to do, but the caretaker or the guide or whatever you want to call them runs alongside of you. You're on the donkey. They run alongside of you to keep you calm and make the donkey, to make sure the donkey's focused. And one of the things that the guy asked me, and I thought this was so wonderful, he said, "Well, why are you here? What do you know about this place?" And for some reason I said, what I'd like to know about this place, that wasn't the question he asked, but I said, I'd like to know where were all those caves? Why are there so many caves everywhere? And he explained to me how they had to get the indigenous people out to make the park, and there was a whole Petra's a whole thing about a real community support and the king coming in and working with the people that were living in the caves. And that was a natural, wonderful thing for the people in the caves. They weren't poor people. This is just how they wanted to live their lives. Mm-hmm. And the concessions, concessions of getting those people out. And then he told me the story about, well, they had to leave and they made new housing for them, but they said they could come back and stay, I think, a couple nights every so often in the cave if they wanted to, free of charge and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought to myself, he just expanded my knowledge and gratitude for this place like 3,000-fold. He didn't have to do that. And, of course, I tipped him well and so forth, but that wasn't the point. The point was that he took the time to listen to what I said, understood his target market, wasn't flippant, and gave me a little story as he's running next to me. I mean, give me a break. I was out of breath because I had to get on the damn donkey, but there he was, running along with me.
I'm just the diva on the donkey. I know we've seen the diva on the camel in Jordan.
Yep,
The diva on the donkey. I want diva on the donkey pictures. I can see the sparkles. And those caves. Don't they have a bunch of cats living around there? Did you see any cats in the cave?
I did not see the cats on the day that I was there, but people had warned me. But for whatever reason, and it wasn't a hot day and it wasn't a cold day, so I don't know if they were just somewhere. I mean, I saw more children soliciting than I would have liked to, but the guy also explained to me that that's just part of life here, and that's how families make their living, and there's nothing wrong with it. Didn't the children look well cared for? Did they seem happy? Was there anything that I could say to improve it? And the answer was, I think you're right. So there you are.
That's that communication part. Is so you can just bridge gaps. I remember when we went to the Bahamas, we went on a cruise ship, and we had one of those get off and go and explore the town. Yes, we almost missed our cruise ship back. It's called Bahama Mamas. But anyway, well, we went out, and some people did the touristy kind of things. And Nancy and I went off, and we were on this bus and kind of took us around. And this lady got in, and it was so cool. I felt like I felt like I was back in Africa. This was cool, man. The scenery and just talking with him, it was just so comfortable. And I was like, dude, I'll just drive around in the bus with you all day. I'm happy. This is the best thing ever. And this lady on there started going off on him and just getting all political and really not in a positive way. And that's where I say the attention to detail also comes from us as travelers. We've got to watch those little details that we do when we're speaking. I know this goes back to speak with good purpose, but Bobbi, it's true. Every key is attached to each other. And I remember that where, meantime, he was trying to explain things And
she wasn't listening.
She was on this agenda where it was not the positive interaction you had, Diva Linda, with your running donkey man. But it was amazing. But the bus took her out, like basically like shut her up. And said that's enough. You know,
the rest of the people on the bus actually let her know that she's
out of line,
very out of line, and extremely
rude.
Good. And it was interesting because she kept turning around to look at people on the bus for encouragement. And it was interesting to me because people are very interesting. When you go to another country, most of us go to learn, not to tell them how they should run it, you know. And she got extremely personal with this man, and she was really rude. It was really kind of an eye-opener for us because we've all heard the ugly American stories, but this took the cake.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we were just shocked. And then the second or third time she turned around for support from the people on the bus, they were all shaking their heads like, no, stop it.
Yeah, nobody was rude to her either when they did that. They all spoke with good purpose.
They were ashamed.
Yeah.
And the driver was such a happy-go-lucky fellow, and he was shaking his head. Everyone was shaking his head, and then she finally had to quiet.
Yeah.
Which was a real relief because, you know, she ruined the whole trip. Really.
Well, it didn't last long.
But when we got off on you know, and started to go other places, the guy on the bus seemed happy as heck. He just somehow he thought it was interesting. He wasn't as insulted as we all thought he was. It was very odd.
It was one of those things. But Bobbi, everybody on the bus did the speak with good purpose. They quieted her up by just shaking their head in like, you know, this is wrong. Like,
yes, and whatever the driver's feeling, sometimes it's not assuming what he's feeling because we project ourselves on other people as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing what you learn from travel. So I wanted to ask each of you in closing, and then we have some beautiful music from the Tall Men group, a quote that you feel goes with the topic, and this key of excellence, this is it, attention to detail. Let's start with you, Diva Linda.
Okay.
Because she's a diva.
My quote is from John Wooden, and it says, if you don't have time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it over?
Ooh,
nice one.
Man, don't mess with the diva.
Well, and I think all of you know that if you don't plan correctly up front, you're going to be correcting it in the back end, and then, of course, in the back end, there's not enough time, money, interest, blah, blah, blah. So I really thought that was very
cool,
sensitive to what we're talking about today.
Nice. Bobbi?
Yes, mine is from Albert Einstein. He has a lot of good "this is it" quotes. There are two ways to live your life. One is through nothing is a miracle. The other is through everything is a miracle.
Yep.
Cool.
Wow.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that. Wow.
Nice.
Nancy.
This is from Anthony J. D'Angelo. Focus 90% of your time on solutions and only 10% of your time on problems.
I
like it.
Yeah, I like that. And that's the whole part of the community. It's about the community coming together on their positive and, you know, making lemonade. That's another one, another key there.
Yep.
Mine comes from George St. Pierre. When you pay attention to detail, the big picture will take care of itself.
Right.
And that's true.
Yep.
That is so true. Yeah.
Yep. Like it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us on here, and Bobbi, thank you for writing the 8 Keys of Excellence.
Yes.
I know we like them. We can just walk around and wave them at people. Like, this is what I mean. No, just well, in situations, it's like, okay, it's time to speak with good purpose. Someone cuts you off in traffic. That key needs to. I feel like we need to have them hanging from the rearview mirror. I need a set of keys. So just
that would be good.
I need that.
Or hand them out.
Something. Yeah.
sort of hand them out on an index card when somebody makes your life difficult.
Yes. You are here.
That's right.
All right. Everybody, again, go to 8keys.org, and you'll be able to see the article in the upcoming Parks and Travel magazine coming out October and running through December. And up on nationalparktraveling.com, just type in tourism, and you'll see the series of articles and also the tourism keys there, keys of excellence. But again, 8keys.org, great place to go and get involved, for your community, for your family, your schools. You, at home, get together with it. It's a great program, and we're wanting 50 million. How many? Where are we at, Bobbi?
We're right at about 30 million, so we're on our way.
Come on, people. Come on. Join the Excellence Party. Everybody, also, supercamp.com is a website to go to learn more about that, because I know it may be fall now, but summer's coming, and again, look at the details, so start now. That's what I have to say. Also, Diva Linda's website to follow her and her adventures, go to allingoodtaste.info. And again, for the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, ifwtwa.org. Again, you'll find Bobbi and Linda's articles both in blendradioandtv.com and nationalparktraveling.com. So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, so here's the music, because when this is it. This is called Time Stands Still, and it's from the album Feast by the Tall Men. So enjoy that, and everyone, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to Big Blend Radio. You can keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com. We are Sunday through Friday. Some are live, some are pre-recorded, and it really doesn't matter either way, but it's there. So go see the schedule on Big Blend Radio. You can listen as shows broadcast or anytime later on demand. So here it is, another great song from the Tall Men Group. You can keep up with them at tallmengroup.weebly.com. So here it is, Time Stands Still.
Can't explain